Mating is a critical aspect of the survival of any species, and the animal kingdom is no exception. Many animals have developed unique mating behaviors to ensure the continuation of their species. From the mighty lion to the tiny ant, animals have developed an array of strategies and behaviors to attract a mate successfully, and ensure the survival of their offspring. In this video, we will explore the fascinating and often bizarre mating behaviors of 30 different animals, each with its unique adaptations. Without further ado, let's get started. Lion mating. It's not uncommon for lions to engage in multiple rounds of mating in a day. But a lion couple in the Kingdom of Rwanda has taken it to the next level. The newly coupled lion and lioness have been seen mating over 100 times a day for the past 4 days, which is a staggering display of animal passion. Once the female is ready to mate, the process can be quick and intense. The male lion will assert his dominance through biting and scratching, and the female will submit to his advances. It's a raw and primal display of animal behavior that has captivated observers for centuries. But what's even more interesting is that lion mating can involve multiple males. In some cases, a female lion will mate with multiple males to ensure the survival of her offspring. This behavior, known as polyandry, is relatively rare in the animal kingdom, but is common among lions. Hyena mating. Have you ever heard of a female animal with an 8 cm in length penis? Well, these fascinating creatures have unique anatomy, unlike anything you've seen before. Female hyenas have large external genitalia that resembles a penis. Hyenas use their pseudopenises not just for peeing and mating, but also to show dominance over other females. It's like having a secret weapon in the animal kingdom. Female hyenas are the dominant sex. During the mating season, male hyenas will approach a female who is in heat and attempt to mount her. If the male is persistent and manages to mount the female, he will need to navigate her pseudo-penis. This can be a difficult process, as the female may clamp down on the male's penis with her pseudo-penis, making it difficult for him to withdraw. In some cases, the male may even be injured or killed during the mating process. Elephant mating. Male African elephants reach sexual maturity between the ages of 12 and 15. While females reach maturity around 10 to 12 years of age. During the mating season, which can occur at any time of year, males become more aggressive and territorial and will engage in courtship displays known as must to attract a mate. When a female elephant is ready to mate, she will emit a high-pitched vocalization to let males know that she is receptive. The male will also display other courtship behaviors, such as extending his trunk and wrapping it around a female's trunk, or touching her hindquarters. If a female is receptive to the male's advances, she will respond by lifting her tail and allowing the male to mount her. The mating process can last anywhere from a few seconds to several minutes. After mating, the male will stay close to the female to prevent other males from mating with her. The African buffalo mating. During mating season, male buffaloes engage in intense battles for dominance, using their large horns to fight and establish mating rights. Only the strongest males are chosen by females for mating, and mothers may even abandon their young if they sense that they are not strong enough to survive. Mating is a difficult process for African buffaloes, also known as Cape buffaloes, due to the challenging life they lead in the African savanna. Being one of the primary prey animals for predators such as lions and crocodiles, they must constantly balance the need to reproduce with the risk of predation. Furthermore, female buffaloes must protect their young from predators while also searching for scarce food and water in the savanna. Despite these challenges, the strong social bonds and protective instincts of African buffaloes have enabled them to persist in their harsh environment. African wild dog. Mating in African wild dogs is a complex process that involves several stages. The dominant male and female individuals within the pack typically mate and produce a litter of up to 20 pups. Once the female is pregnant, the pack will take on a nursery role, with members caring for the pregnant female and her pups. After the pups are born, the pack will help care for them, regurgitating food to feed them and providing protection from predators. In addition to their unique reproductive system, African wild dogs also engage in a behavior called social monogamy, which means that the dominant male and female individuals will form a pair bond and remain together throughout their lives. However, this does not necessarily mean that they are sexually exclusive, as they may mate with other pack members as well. Overall, mating in African wild dogs is a complex and social process that involves cooperation and support from the entire pack. Black mamba mating. Mating in black mambas is a competitive and intense process. During the spring and summer months, males will search for females to mate with. However, as black mambas are solitary animals, finding a mate can be a challenge. When a male does find a female, he will engage in combat with other males to compete for mating rights. These fights can be violent and even deadly, with the snakes using their powerful bodies and venomous spites to gain the upper hand. Once a male has successfully defeated his rivals, he will mate with the female. The mating process itself is brief, lasting only a few seconds. After mating, the male will leave and have no further involvement in raising the offspring. Female black mambas will lay a clutch of up to 17 eggs in a protected location and then leave them to hatch on their own. Black rhino mating. During mating season, rhino females will often actively resist mating attempts from males. This is because male rhinos can be aggressive and may harm the female during the mating process. As a result, female black rhinos will often run away from males or even charge at them to ward them off. Mating in rhinos can be a complex and sometimes violent process. Male rhinos are known to be very territorial and will fight with other males to establish dominance and mating rights. These fights can be incredibly aggressive and can even result in serious injury or death. When a male rhino finds a receptive female, he will typically approach her slowly and sniff her rear end to check if she is ready to mate. If she is receptive, she will remain still and allow the male to mount her from behind. Successful mating is crucial to ensuring the survival of these magnificent creatures in the wild. Zebra mating. During the mating process, male zebras will often bite the necks of females. This behavior is thought to help keep the female still and prevent her from running away. Female zebras often engage in a behavior called teasing, where they will approach a male and then run away, enticing the male to chase after them. This behavior may help females to choose a strong and healthy mate. Once a female has mated, she will carry her foal for around 12 to 14 months. When the foal is born, it is able to stand and walk within minutes. One of the biggest threats to zebra foals after birth is predation by lions. Lions are the primary predators of zebras, and they will often target vulnerable foals. However, despite the risks, zebra foals have a relatively high survival rate, with around 50% of foals surviving to adulthood. Giraffe mating. Mating in giraffes is a unique and fascinating process, which involves a number of strange and interesting behaviors. One of the most notable aspects of giraffes' mating behavior is their violent courtship ritual, known as necking, where males use their long necks to swing their heads and hit each other with powerful blows. This behavior is not only used to establish dominance over other males, but also to attract females. Once a male giraffe has established dominance, he will follow the female, sometimes for days, until she allows him to mate. Interestingly, male giraffes have been observed attempting to mate with other males, a behavior known as homosexual mounting, which suggests that their sexual behavior may be more complex than previously thought. Giraffes' mating behavior is just one example of the fascinating and sometimes strange ways in which animals have evolved to reproduce and pass on their genes to the next generation. Cheetah mating. Cheetahs are not only fast in speed, but also in sex, as their coupling period lasts only 20 to 30 seconds. The world's fastest land animal sure is fast. These big cats become sexually mature between 18 to 23 months of age. Male cheetahs will follow around females in heat for days, engaging in all sorts of charming behaviors like scent marking and yowling until the female is ready to mate. And when the moment finally arrives, it's over in a flash. Blink and you'll miss it. During this time, the male will engage in behaviors such as scent marking and vocalizations to attract the female's attention, and signal his intent to mate. Interestingly, cheetahs have a unique reproductive system that allows females to conceive even if they only mate once during their estrus cycle. This is due to the release of multiple eggs during ovulation, which increases the likelihood of fertilization and pregnancy. Chimpanzee mating. Chimpanzees are one of the few non-human animals known to engage in face-to-face copulation, where the male and female directly face each other during mating. Female chimps have been observed to use sticks and other objects to simulate sexual acts, suggesting that they may also engage in sexual behaviors for pleasure and not just reproduction. When a female is in estrus, she becomes highly attractive to the males. Unlike many other primates, chimpanzee females are sexually receptive year-round, rather than being restricted to a specific breeding season. Chimpanzees also engage in courtship behaviors such as grooming and embracing to establish social bonds and potentially improve their chances of mating. In addition, females have been known to initiate mating by presenting themselves to males, often with vocalizations and body postures. In some cases, males will engage in behaviors such as offering food or sharing tools with females in order to court them for mating. Crocodile mating. Crocodiles have unique and fascinating mating behavior. Mating usually occurs in the water during the dry season, when the water levels are lower and more concentrated. The male crocodile will approach the female and start to rub his head and snout against her body. He will then try to get on top of her and hold her down, sometimes resulting in a violent struggle. Once a female is attracted, the male will mount her from behind and engage in copulation, which can last anywhere from a few minutes to over an hour. After mating, the female will lay her eggs in a nest that she has built on land, which she will fiercely defend from potential predators. Interestingly, the sex of crocodile hatchlings is determined by the temperature of the nest during incubation. If the temperature is high, more males will hatch, while a lower temperature will produce more females. Flamingo mating. Flamingo mating behavior is a beautiful and unique spectacle to witness. Male flamingos gather together in groups known as flamboyants and perform synchronized displays to attract females. The displays involve elaborate movements including head flagging, wing salutes, and marching in unison. Once a male has caught the eye of a female, they begin to engage in preening each other's feathers, a behavior that helps to strengthen their bond. The male then proceeds to perform a dance where he walks around the female with his head held high and wings extended. If the female is receptive, she will call out to him, and they will stand side by side, their necks entwined. After mating, the pair will work together to build a nest out of mud and twigs, which they will use to lay and incubate their eggs. Flamingos are monogamous during the breeding season, meaning they form pairs and mate with the same partner each year. Mongoose mating. During mongoose mating, the male often approaches the female aggressively, biting and scratching her neck and back. This behavior is believed to be a way for the male to assert dominance and maintain control over the female during copulation. During mating, the male mounts the female from behind and grips her by the neck. Copulation may last from a few seconds to several minutes and may be repeated multiple times over several days. After mating, the male may remain with the female for a period of time to ensure that no other males mate with her. After mating, the gestation period for mongooses is around 60 days, and litters can range from 1 to 6 pups. Mongoose pups are born blind and helpless and rely on their mother for warmth and nourishment. The father may also assist in rearing the young, as mongoose colonies are known to exhibit cooperative breeding behavior. Jackal mating. During jackal mating, the male and female engage in a complex series of behaviors that involve vocalizations, body posturing, and physical contact. Mating typically occurs between monogamous pairs during the breeding season. Male jackals will often approach a female with a submissive posture and will nuzzle and lick her genital area to initiate mating. The female may initially resist the male's advances, but eventually she will allow him to mount her. Copulation lasts from minutes to hours because the female jackal will often lock her genitalia around the male's sex organ. This phenomenon, called coital tie, can last for up to an hour. which ensures that the male's sperm is properly transferred to the female's reproductive tract. Interestingly, jackals also exhibit post-copulatory behaviors, such as mutual grooming and sniffing each other's anogenital region. These behaviors are thought to be important in the formation and maintenance of the pair bond. Leopard mating. Did you know that leopards can mate up to 100 times a day? That's right, these big cats have quite the appetite when it comes to reproduction. During mating season, which typically occurs in the rainy season, male leopards will roam their territory in search of receptive females. Once a male has found a female, he will follow her closely, sometimes for several days, until she is ready to mate. The mating process itself is brief, lasting only a few seconds, but it can occur repeatedly over a period of several days. Interestingly, female leopards have the ability to control their own fertility. They can hold on to a male's sperm for an extended period of time before fertilization occurs. This helps to ensure that the female will conceive during optimal conditions, such as during a period of abundant prey. After mating, the male and female go their separate ways. Ostrich mating. The mating rituals of ostriches are a spectacle to behold, with females being incredibly choosy in their selection of a mate. The females put the male through a rigorous test of his stamina, leading him on a chase where he must keep up with their impressive speed of 40 miles per hour. Ostriches are known for their unique and elaborate mating ritual. The male ostrich will perform a dramatic dance to attract a female mate. If the female is impressed with his performance, she will join in the dance and the two will mate. During the actual mating process, the male will mount the female and rapidly move his tail feathers up and down while making a booming sound. This helps to stimulate the female and increase the chances of fertilization. Ostriches are known for their monogamous mating habits, with a pair usually mating for life. Warthog mating. Mating in warthogs occurs throughout the year, with no specific mating season. Males will approach females with a series of grunts and chatters, often following them for extended periods of time until the female allows mating to occur. Interestingly, warthogs have a unique reproductive adaptation known as delayed implantation. After mating, the fertilized egg will float freely in the female's uterus for several months before implanting into the uterine wall and continuing development. This allows warthogs to time the birth of their offspring to coincide with periods of optimal food availability, which can vary greatly depending on seasonal and environmental factors. During mating, male warthogs have also been observed engaging in aggressive competition with one another for access to females. This includes physical fights, such as pushing and shoving, as well as vocalizations, such as grunting and growling. Females may also exhibit aggressive behavior towards males if they feel harassed. Vulture mating. Vulture mating is not as glamorous as some other animals. It usually takes place on the ground and is a relatively quick process. The male will approach the female and start pecking her neck or beak, which is a sign of courtship. Once she is receptive, the pair will mate. Vultures don't build nests in the traditional sense. They are scavengers and often lay their eggs in abandoned nests of other birds, on the ledges of cliffs or on the ground. The female will lay 1 or 2 eggs, and both parents will take turns incubating the eggs. Interestingly, vultures have a unique defense mechanism for protecting their young. When threatened, the parents will regurgitate a foul-smelling substance at the predator, which can deter them from attacking. Vultures are also known for their excellent eyesight, which they use to locate carrion from great distances. Tiger mating. Tiger mating is an intense and often violent affair. The male tiger initiates the mating process by rubbing his head and body against the female's flanks. If the female is receptive, she will allow the male to mount her. Copulation may last up to several minutes, during which the male tiger holds onto the female's neck with his teeth. Tigers are not social animals, and males and females typically only come together for mating. In the wild, mating season for tigers usually occurs between November and April. Interestingly, female tigers are capable of induced ovulation, meaning that they will not ovulate until they have mated. This ensures that the female's eggs are only fertilized by the strongest and most dominant males. Male tigers have been known to kill cubs that are not their own in order to bring the female back into estrus and increase their own chances of mating. Mountain lions mating. Mountain lions, also known as pumas, are solitary animals that only come together during mating season. Mating typically occurs from December to March, with the peak period being in January and February. During this time, the males will travel long distances in search of receptive females. Male mountain lions use urine and scratch marks to mark their territory and leave their scent behind. This helps to establish their dominance and signal to females that they are ready to mate. However, it is ultimately up to the female to choose her mate, and she will typically select the strongest and most dominant male available. They do not form long-term pair bonds. Males will mate with multiple females. Females do the same. After mating, the male and female will go their separate ways. There is no parental care provided by males, and the female is solely responsible for raising and protecting her cubs. Snow leopards mating. Snow leopards are known to be elusive and solitary animals, so observing their mating behavior in the wild is rare. When snow leopards are ready to mate, the male will approach the female and begin a series of vocalizations, such as growls, hisses, and moans, to express his intentions. The female may respond by growling and hissing back, but eventually she will become receptive to the male and allow him to mate. Snow leopards mate during the winter months of January to mid-March. The males will often follow the scent trail left by females and compete with other males for the opportunity to mate. The male will approach the female and they will engage in a brief mating ritual, which lasts about 5 to 7 days. The pair will then go their separate ways. Snow leopard populations are under threat due to habitat loss, poaching, and climate change. Antechinus mating. Sex can be a life-giving force, but for the male antechinus, it's a deadly one. These small creatures engage in intense mating sessions that last for up to 14 hours straight. And while this may sound like a dream come true for some males of the human species, for the antechinus, it's a fatal endeavor. These tiny creatures spend the majority of their adult lives in search of sexual partners. During mating season, they mate with as many females as they can find, often engaging in sexual activity for hours at a time, without any breaks for rest or food. The male antechinus may be willing to sacrifice his own life for the chance to pass on his genes, but for humans, the consequences of such extreme sexual behavior can be devastating. It's a reminder that while nature can be beautiful and awe-inspiring, it can also be brutal and unforgiving. Ant mating. The queen ant produces a special scent. This scent is a powerful attractant for winged male ants from other nests, who are drawn to the queen. The male ants that are attracted to the queen are enormous, similar in size to the queen herself. However, the journey to becoming a consort of the queen is not an easy one. The male must prove his fitness to the colony. The other ants, initially viewing the male as prey, must be convinced that he is a suitable consort for the queen. If the male is accepted, he will mate with the queen in the royal chamber. However, his time as a consort is short-lived. When his job is done, he retires from the royal chamber and dies. With this sacrifice, he will father several million offspring, ensuring the continued success of the colony. Praying mantis mating. The praying mantis is known for its unique and somewhat gruesome mating behavior. While the male praying mantis may have a brief moment of pleasure, it often results in his demise at the hands, or rather mandibles, of the female. After a courtship dance and seduction by pheromones, the female praying mantis invites the male to mate. However, the act of mating often results in the male being decapitated by the female. Female praying mantises don't always kill their mates after mating. While some species do exhibit this behavior, others don't, and in some cases, the male can even continue to mate with the female for some time after his head is removed. One theory is that it's a form of sexual cannibalism that ensures the survival of the female's offspring. By consuming the male, the female gains vital nutrients that she can use to support the growth of her eggs. Redback spider mating. Male Australian redback spiders essentially sacrifice themselves after mating with a female. During copulation, males purposely position their abdomens near the female's mouth, even though they are aware that she will most likely consume them. Only around 30% of male redback spiders survive their first mating. Most males do not survive their first time mating, as they have a short lifespan and are likely to die or get eaten by a predator before making it to another female's web. The female is often more than 100 times bigger than the male. Despite this vast size difference between males and females, the mating process is still successful. During copulation, the male redback spider will climb onto the female's web and use his pedipalps to transfer sperm to her reproductive organs. Despite the risks involved, male redback spiders continue to mate with their much larger counterparts, ensuring the survival of their species. Honeybee mating. Mating in the animal kingdom can often be a life or death affair. Honeybee males get to mate with the queen only once before they die. When the queen bee emerges from her hive in search of mating partners, drones will swarm around her hoping for a chance to mate. The fastest and bravest drones will be the ones to mount the queen mid-air and mate with her. However, the cost of this act is steep. Once a drone ejaculates, his testicles will explode and his endophallus will be left behind inside the queen. The drone then falls to the ground and dies. One would think that the other drones would learn from their brother's fates, but the competition is fierce, and the next drone will take out the endophallus left by the previous drone and attempt to mate with the queen himself. This cycle continues until the queen has mated with as many drones as possible. Anglerfish mating. The mating behavior of some anglerfish species is unique and bizarre. Males become one with their partners, with their tissues fusing together. These males are much smaller than females, only about 1/160th of their partner's size, and roughly 500,000 times lighter. Their sole purpose is to pass on their genes, but finding a mate is complicated in the dark depths of the ocean where they live. To find a mate, a super mini male has to track a species-specific pheromone that the female emits. When he finds her, he bites her in the most romantic way possible, and then his mouth dissolves, and his tissues fuse with hers. The pair will eventually share everything, including a circulatory system. They will remain that way forever. She provides the nutrients, and he fertilizes the eggs until death do their part. Even then, they don't separate. Peacock spider mating. The male peacock spider's courtship dance is a matter of life and death. If the female spider dislikes the male, she may quickly shake her abdomen or attack and eat him up, making courtship a dangerous affair for the suitor. However, in order to mate successfully, the male must perform an intricate dance using a brilliantly colored fan attached to his abdomen. Male jumping spiders are not very selective and will attempt to court any female they come across, even if she's a different species. The female signals her approval or disapproval by turning towards or away from the male. If the female approves of the male's dance, he may be allowed to mate, but if she isn't impressed, the male will become her next meal. This high-stakes courtship ritual is a fascinating example of the lengths that animals will go to in order to reproduce and pass on their genes. Nubian ibex mating. In some places in the Middle East, there are special pools where female ibexes come to drink water every day. These pools are guarded by a male ibex who wants to mate with the females. Other males also want to mate with the females, so they fight each other to see who gets to guard the pool. The male ibexes use their heads to fight and can keep fighting for up to an hour. Sometimes a third male might join in, making it even harder to win. But if a predator is near, they will stop fighting and run away because they need to be careful. This fighting and guarding is important for the male ibexes to mate and pass on their genes to the next generation. Despite the risks, mating is a crucial part of the ibex's survival, and the males will stop at nothing to secure their place as the dominant male. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing content. Let us know in the comments what you'd like to see next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.